Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. As you know, we are studying very important chapter, that is life processes. Different life processes are nutrition, okay, excretion, transpiration. I told you that the all living beings perform different activities to grow, to develop or to maintain their body. Okay, so these are the life processes which are very important. In my previous lecture, I told you about the nutrition and the photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants make their food in the presence of sunlight, water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll. Fine. So, in this process, they form carbohydrates, means glucose, and they release oxygen in the atmosphere. Fine. As well as I told you the complete mechanism of the photosynthesis. Now, I am going to teach you about the stomata. As I told you that green leaves help in the process of photosynthesis. So, do you know there are some tiny pores which are present on the lower side of the leaf. These pores are known as stomata. Okay, these stomata play an important role in the process of photosynthesis as well as they do the process of transpiration. Now, let me explain you the structure of stomata. Here we can see one stomata is open and one stomata is closed. Why it is so? I'll explain you. Before that, I want to explain that here this part of stomata is known as stoma. Okay, generally this stoma is a pore. Clear? This stoma is a pore which helps in the exchange of gases. And this is the reason that these pores play an important role for the exchange of gases or gaseous exchange in the photosynthesis. Clear? As I told you, in the photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and after the process of photosynthesis, they release oxygen in the atmosphere. So, all this exchange of gases takes place from this pore that is known as stoma. Clear? This stomata, here we can see, this stomata is covered by guard cells. Okay, these guard cells are kidney shaped. Here we can see that a pair of guard cell is surrounding this stoma, and these guard cells, they what they do, they help in the process of transpiration. Now, what is transpiration? Transpiration means loss of water from the body. So, here what is the body here? The body is leaf. Fine, because stomata are present in the leaf only. So, let me explain the structure, and here another thing is that these guard cell have some chloroplast. Why it is so? Because actually these stomata are present in the leaves and leaves contain chloroplast, means they contain chlorophyll for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so here this is the structure of stomata. Here we can see that the small pore which is known as stoma is surrounded by a pair of kidney shaped guard cells. Okay, these two are guard cell, and here we can see they also have some vacuole, as well as this guard cells contain nucleus as well as they contain chloroplast. Okay, now let me define stomata. What are stomata? These are small pores. Why they are small? They are too small that we cannot see them. This is the reason they are known as microscopic pores. Okay. Microscopic pores. So, these are small pores or microscopic pores present on the lower side of the leaf. Okay, these are present on the lower side of the leaf. Do you know why they are present on the lower side of the leaf? Actually, they are present on the lower side to reduce the loss of water from the leaf or to reduce the rate of transpiration. Okay, if they will be on the upper side, then the rate of transpiration will increase because upper side faces the sunlight directly and the lower side doesn't faces the sunlight directly. Okay, so this is the reason that they are present on the lower side and the rate of transpiration become less or reduces. Clear? So here, what are stomata? Stomata are small pores. They are also known as microscopic pores present on the lower side of the leaf. Okay, these small pores, the small pore called stoma is covered by a pair of guard cells. Okay, what are the guard cells? Guard cells are kidney shape in the structure. Okay, as well as what is the function of these guard cells? They protect the stomata. Okay, or they protect the stoma. So these guard cells are kidney shaped. Okay, if we talk about the function of these guard cells, so they help the stoma to close or to open. Okay, helps in closing or opening of stoma. Okay, so what is the function of these guard cells? These guard cells, here we can see the stoma is open, and here we can see the stoma. This is the open space. The vacuole here was the open space, means pore. Here the pore is open, means this. Thus we can say that the stomata is open. Here we can say we cannot find stoma here, means the stomata is closed. So thus we can say this function is performed, means the opening and closing of stomata is performed by these guard cells. Clear? So function helps in closing and opening of stoma. So how this action takes place in these stomata? Actually, what happens when these stomata get swell due to the entry of water, then the stomata is open. Okay, but when due to the process of transpiration, okay, the water get lost from the leaf, then these guard cells shrink in size and the stomata get closed. Clear? So this is the process of opening of stomata and closing of stomata. First of all, let me define you that what is the main function of stomata. The main function of stomata is exchange of gases, as well as the process of transpiration also takes place due to the stomata. Clear? Now let me define how the stomata get closed and open. When water enters in the guard cells, then the guard cells get swell, then the guard cells swell and opens the stomata. Okay, but when the water is lost from these guard cells, then they shrink and the stomata gets closed. Okay, next is when water is lost, then guard cells shrink, and stomata get closed. Okay, stomata closes when the water is lost from the guard cells. Okay, when the water is lost from the guard cells, water is lost, then guard cells shrink and stomata get closed. So this is the process of opening and closing of stomata. Now we will talk about the function of stomata. Function of stomata. What are the functions of stomata? As I told you, stomata, as it is a pore, okay, covered by guard cells. So this pore helps in the exchange of gases. So first function is exchange of gases, and it also performs the process of photosynthesis and helps in photosynthesis. Next, transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration means loss of water. So I explained you here how the loss of water means transpiration take place. Okay, when the water enters in this guard cells, then stomata open and these guard cells swell. Okay, but when the water moves out from these guard cells, then they shrink and the stomata get closed. So this is the function of stomata, that it helps in the exchange of gases as well as help in the process of photosynthesis. It helps in the transpiration means loss of water. So here the topic stomata gets completed. Now we will talk about heterotrophic nutrition in the plants. Okay. Next is heterotrophic nutrition in the plants. Heterotrophic nutrition in the plants. As I told you that the plants generally perform the heterotrophic nutrition. Why? I told you that the plants generally show autotrophic nutrition because plants are able to synthesize their own food. But some plants are there, they cannot synthesize their food because they lack chlorophyll. So in this condition, they need food. So they depend on the external sources for their food. Fine. So here, as we are talking about the heterotrophic nutrition in plants, so now we are going to talk about those variety of plants which depend on external sources for their food. So these are generally of three types. What are they? Saprophytic plants, parasitic plants and insectivorous plants. Okay. Heterotrophic, generally three types: saprophytes, then parasitic plants, and then insectivorous plants. Okay. So what are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs means the organisms which cannot synthesize their own food and they depend on the external sources for their food. Let me mention here what are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs, organisms that do not synthesize their own food due to lack of chlorophyll, and depend on external sources for their food. Okay, so these are known as heterotrophs, and heterotrophs are generally of three types. I am talking here about the plants, okay, not about the animals. I am talking about three types of plants, heterotroph plants. They are saprophytes, parasitic plants, and insectivorous plants. First of all, we would like to talk about saprophytes. What are saprophytes? Saprophytes means, here if you talk about the word sapro means rotten. So the plants which depend on dead plants or decaying plants, okay, means they get their food or they get their nutrition from the dead and decaying plants. They are known as saprophytic plants, or they are known as saprophytes. Saprophytes. What are saprophytes? Plants that depend, or plants which depend on dead and decaying plants for their nutrition or food. Okay, so they are known as saprophytes. What are saprophytes? Plants that depend or they derive their nutrition from dead and decaying plants, then they are known as saprophytes. Next, we will talk about parasitic plants. Parasitic plants generally depends on the external environment, or they get the nutrient from the host plant. Now, how they do? For example, dodder. What the dodder do? It spread out its suckers, okay, and then it sucks the food from the host, okay, and get the nutrition. Why actually it happens? Because dodder lack the chlorophyll. It is yellowish in color, okay. So what it do? It spread out its suckers and then get attached to the phloem of the host plant and then take its nutrients, okay. Next is parasitic plants. Parasitic plants. What are parasitic plants? The plants which derive their nutrients from the host plant, okay. The plant that derive the nutrients or nutrition means food from the plant that derive the nutrition or food from the host plant, okay. For example, dodder. Actually, it lacks chlorophyll. It lacks chlorophyll and it is yellowish in color. Clear? It gets its suckers out and attach them with the or attach them to the phloem of the host plant and get nutrition. And get nutrition. Okay, this is all about the parasitic plant. Now we will talk about insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants, as the name itself defines, means the plants which feed on the insects. Now actually why these type of plants are known as insectivorous plants? Even these are autotrophic, but still they eat the insects or they feed on the insects. This is because they lack some minerals. Okay, so due to the lack of minerals, they want to get the supplement of that nutrient or that mineral. Then in that condition, they feed on that insect and get the nutrient or that they get the mineral. Generally, they lack the nitrogen in the soil. This is the reason that they feed on the insects and get the nitrogen, means that is the mineral from them. Clear? So next is insectivorous plants. Next is insectivorous plants. Okay, plants that feed on insects are known as insectivorous plants. Fine. Generally they are autotrophic, but generally these plants are autotrophic. But they lack some minerals, or if there is the deficiency of mineral. Okay, generally these plants are autotrophic, but they lack or deficiency. They lack mineral. And what kind of mineral? Which mineral? Especially nitrogen. In the soil. So they feed on insects to get minerals. Okay. So best example of insectivorous plants are Venus flytrap, okay. So this was all about the heterotrophs, means heterotrophic nutrition in the plant. Now we will talk about symbiotic relationship. What is symbiotic relationship? When two plants live together and get benefited from each other. Okay, means one plant is supplying support, means providing support, and other plant is providing the nutrition, okay, or the food. Then they both plant will show the symbiotic relationship. So what is symbiotic relationship? The relationship in which two plants live together or depend on each other for their what? For their needs. Okay. So next is symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship when two plants live together means they are growing together, okay. So when two plants live together and get benefited from each other Such relationship is known as symbiotic relationship. Okay, for example, mycorrhiza. Example is mycorrhiza. Okay, so what is symbiotic relationship? In this relationship, two plants live together and get benefited from each other. One provides support and another provide nutrition. So thus kind of plants are known as symbiotic plants, and they show this relationship is known as symbiotic relationship. Clear? So in this lecture we studied about the stomata, structure of stomata, function stomata. Hope it was interesting. I taught you the heterotrophic nutrition in the plants, that even the plants are autotrophic. Okay, but still some plants are heterotrophs in nature because they lack the chlorophyll and cannot synthesize their food. This is the reason they are known as heterotrophs, and these are generally of three types: saprophytic, parasitic and insectivorous. Once they depend on dead or decaying plants, then they are known as saprophytes. Parasitic, when they get the nutrition from the host, then they are parasitic. And insectivorous means the plants which feed on insects, they are insectivorous. Okay, and generally they feed on the insects due to the lack of mineral. Even they are autotrophs. Clear? And symbiotic relationship, the relationship in which two plants live together and get benefited from each other. This is the symbiotic relationship. Okay, so hope everything is clear to you. Thank you.